Discussion on verses 1 to 52 of 52. This chapter begins by introducing a powerful and thought-provoking name for the Day of Judgment, the inevitable reality. Its mention serves to draw attention to something unavoidable and certain, encouraging people to gain knowledge about it, so that they may prepare practically and sincerely. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 1 to 3.
The inevitable reality. What is the inevitable reality? And what can make you know what is the inevitable reality?
It is striking that many people, even those who profess belief in the Day of Judgment, devote most of their energy, effort, and resources toward uncertain worldly outcomes, such as retirement or future wealth, while paying minimal attention to a reality that is based on clear evidence and is unavoidable. For this reason, it is essential for a person to regularly assess their own deeds. No one knows their actions better than themselves, except Allah, the Exalted. Honest self-assessment inspires sincere repentance for past mistakes, and motivates the performance of righteous deeds, which involves using the blessings one has been granted in ways that please Allah, the Exalted. Conversely, neglecting this regular evaluation leads to heedlessness, misuse of blessings, and a failure to prepare properly for the weighing of deeds on the Day of Judgment. Such neglect can result in severe consequences, including punishment in the hereafter. A useful analogy can be drawn from business. A clever business owner regularly assesses their accounts, ensuring their operations remain on track and that all obligations, such as taxes, are fulfilled correctly. In contrast, a negligent owner who ignores accounting will face losses, mistakes, and penalties. Similarly, failing to account for one's deeds has consequences far more severe than financial loss. The penalty is unbearable and eternal. Chapter 99 Az-Zalala, verses 7 to 8.
So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it, and whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it.
Furthermore, a person must not only avoid committing sins, but also strive to prevent using their blessings in vain. Actions that are neither sinful nor righteous, though seemingly harmless, may lead to regret on the Day of Judgment. Every opportunity to use blessings properly, whether time, wealth, knowledge, or health, can contribute to one's good deeds. Even a small difference between proper and improper use may be decisive in tipping the scales towards salvation or damnation. In essence, reflection, accountability, and purposeful use of one's blessings are central to attaining success in both this world and the hereafter. In order to encourage people to accept and practically prepare for their accountability, Allah, the Exalted, narrates the consequences of those who failed to do so and instead persisted in disobedience, misusing the blessings He had granted them. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 4 to 10.
Thamud and Ad denied the striking calamity. So as for Thamud, they were destroyed by the overpowering blast. And as for Ad, they were destroyed by a screaming violent wind, which Allah imposed upon them for 7 nights and 8 days in succession, so you would see the people therein fallen as if they were hollow trunks of palm trees. Then do you see of them any remains? And there came Pharaoh and those before him and the overturned cities with sin. And they disobeyed the messenger of their Lord, so he seized them with a seizure exceeding in severity.
These verses provide a powerful lesson against living a self-absorbed life, where attention is limited solely to personal circumstances, while ignoring broader realities and consequences. A narrow focus of this kind blinds the heart from recognizing the wisdom embedded in history, personal trials, and the experiences of others. Reflecting on such lessons is essential for refining character, avoiding repeated mistakes, and attaining lasting inner peace, achieved through maintaining a balanced mental and physical state and correctly placing everything and everyone within one's life. For instance, observing how the wealthy and prominent misuse the blessings they have been given, often leading to anxiety, depression, addiction, or even suicide despite material comforts, demonstrates that true tranquility cannot be purchased with wealth or secured through unchecked desires. Similarly, witnessing someone struggle with illness should foster gratitude for one's own health and motivate the proper use of it before it diminishes. Islam thus encourages mindfulness and reflection, urging people to see beyond the narrow lens of their immediate circumstances and to extract wisdom from the broader world around them. Through this awareness, individuals can learn to use their blessings correctly, achieve inner balance, and prepare properly for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. Allah the Exalted also narrates, in contrast to the previous examples, the positive outcome of those who remain firm in obeying Him. This serves to encourage people to follow their example, thereby attaining peace of mind in both worlds, achieved through maintaining a balanced mental and physical state and correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. Chapter 69 Al-Kalam, verses 11 to 12.
Indeed, when the water overflowed, we carried your ancestors in the sailing ship, that we might make it for you a reminder, and that a conscious ear would be conscious of it.
The verses emphasize the correct approach to engaging with Islamic knowledge. It is not sufficient merely to hear or memorize teachings. One must internalize and reflect on them. This involves connecting the lessons to personal experiences, understanding the wisdom behind the guidance, and actively evaluating how to implement these teachings in daily life. A conscious ear, as mentioned in the verse, is one that listens with attention, comprehension, and the intention to act. Without these steps, knowledge remains superficial and fails to produce meaningful transformation. Moreover, this guidance highlights a broader pattern in human behavior. Access to knowledge alone is insufficient to guarantee growth or improvement. Many people today have unprecedented access to Islamic teachings through books, lectures, and digital media, yet they often fail to experience genuine change because they do not take the deliberate steps of reflection, connection, and implementation. The Holy Quran, therefore, urges individuals to approach knowledge with sincerity, discipline, and mindfulness, ensuring that it shapes character, nurtures patience, and strengthens obedience to Allah, the Exalted. In essence, the verses encourage people to treat knowledge as an active tool for personal and spiritual development, rather than a passive collection of facts. When Islamic knowledge is engaged with correctly, it becomes a transformative force that aligns one's actions with divine guidance, harmonizes mental and physical states, and prepares a person for accountability on the Day of Judgment. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 13 to 15.
Then when the horn is blown with one blast, and the earth and the mountains are lifted and leveled with one blow, then on that day the event will occur.
The essential lesson here is that the call of Allah, the Exalted, is unavoidable and ultimate. It signals the inevitable reality of resurrection and final accountability, a call to which no one can permanently turn away. Therefore, a person must respond to this call through sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, by following the guidance conveyed through the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. This response involves fulfilling Allah's commands, refraining from His prohibitions, and facing destiny with patience and steadfastness in accordance with the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Such a response ensures that the blessings granted by Allah, the Exalted, are used in ways that are beneficial, purposeful, and pleasing to Him. Chapter 8 and Anfal, verse 24.
O you who have believed, respond to Allah and to the Messenger when He calls you to that which gives you life.
This verse highlights that responding to the divine call in this worldly life eases one's journey in the hereafter. The person who acts with awareness, obedience, and reflection will find the final call, the trumpet signaling the resurrection, manageable, even comforting, because they have prepared themselves through righteous deeds and submission. By contrast, the one who ignores the call of Allah, the Exalted, by wasting their blessings, prioritizing worldly desires, or living heedlessly, will face immense difficulty when confronted with the final call. The trumpet's blast will bring no opportunity for adjustment or repentance at that moment. The reality of accountability will strike with full force. For such individuals, their past negligence will magnify the burden, making the final reckoning unbearable. The lesson is clear. Avoidance or procrastination offers no true refuge. Ignoring divine guidance in this life only compounds the challenge of responding on the Day of Judgment. Since the final call is certain and unavoidable, the only sensible and beneficial course is to respond immediately, today, by aligning one's life with the guidance granted by Allah, the Exalted. Doing so cultivates inner peace, strengthens preparedness for the inevitable, and ensures that one's use of blessings contributes to a balanced, meaningful life and ultimate success in both worlds. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 15.
Then on that day the event will occur.
rejecting the reality of resurrection on the Day of Judgment, ignores the countless manifestations of revival that are woven throughout the created world. Creation itself provides ongoing and unmistakable evidence of life arising from apparent lifelessness, continually testifying to the power and wisdom of Allah, the Exalted. Rainfall transforms barren, dry soil into fertile ground teeming with growth, while seeds that appear dead and inert absorb water, swell, and germinate into plants that sustain all living beings. The changing seasons further reinforce this cycle. Trees that stand bare and seemingly lifeless in winter awaken in spring, sprouting leaves, blossoms, and greenery year after year. Within the human body, countless cells constantly die and are replaced, reflecting an unceasing process of renewal and regeneration. Animals that enter hibernation or deep states of dormancy experience near inactivity, only to awaken with restored strength and vitality when the season changes. Even the harshest environments demonstrate this phenomenon. Arid desert plants remain dormant for years, yet burst into life with the first drops of rain. Forests devastated by fire gradually regenerate as new shoots emerge and ecosystems recover. Coral reefs that appear dead after bleaching events can return to vibrant life when conditions improve. The heavens themselves mirror this pattern on a cosmic scale, as stars collapse, scatter their elements across space, and contribute to the formation of new stars and planets, illustrating creation emerging anew from destruction. Even the daily cycle of sleep serves as a microcosm of this principle. The sleeper's awareness and sensory perception are temporarily suspended, yet the soul is returned to the body, restoring life and consciousness, demonstrating that even in apparent dormancy, life continues under the precise control of Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 39 Az-Zumar, verse 42.
Allah takes the souls at the time of their death, and those that do not die He takes during their sleep. Then He keeps those for which He has decreed death, and releases the others for a specified term. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who give thought.
In addition, the Day of Judgment is an event that must inevitably occur. Observing the universe reveals countless examples of precise balance that govern the natural world. The Earth maintains an exact and stable distance from the Sun, creating conditions suitable for life. Any significant deviation, closer or farther, would render the planet uninhabitable. Similarly, the water cycle demonstrates remarkable equilibrium. Evaporation from oceans, condensation in the atmosphere, and the return of rain sustain life on Earth in a perfectly orchestrated manner. The soil is also designed with balance in mind. It is soft enough to allow the delicate shoots and branches of seeds to penetrate and grow into crops, yet resilient enough to support the weight of large structures. These examples clearly point to a deliberate creator and illustrate an underlying harmony within creation. Yet amidst this natural balance, one glaring imbalance stands out: the actions of human beings. Oppressive and tyrannical individuals often escape punishment in this world, while countless innocent people endure hardship without receiving full recognition or reward for their patience. Many Muslims who sincerely obey Allah, the Exalted, encounter trials and difficulties, receiving only a portion of the reward they are due, whereas those who openly disobey Him may enjoy worldly luxuries without immediate consequence. Just as Allah, the Exalted, has established balance in all aspects of creation, the reward and punishment for human actions must also be properly balanced. Since this balance is not fully realized in this world, it necessitates a future time when justice will be fully served, the Day of Judgment. Allah, the Exalted, could have fully rewarded and punished people in this world, but there is wisdom in delaying complete recompense. By doing so, Allah, the Exalted, grants repeated opportunities for individuals to repent sincerely and correct their behavior. He does not fully reward Muslims in this temporal world, because it is not meant to be paradise. Likewise, belief in the unseen, the full reward awaiting in the next world, is a critical component of faith. This belief distinguishes true faith, as it involves trusting in a reality beyond sensory perception. If faith were based solely on what could be perceived in this world, it would lose its distinct and transformative character. A combination of fear of complete punishment and hope for ultimate reward in the hereafter encourages individuals to refrain from sin and actively engage in righteous deeds. True preparation for the day of recompense requires recognizing that the material world must eventually end, as punishment and reward can only be administered once every action is concluded. The cessation of worldly existence is therefore an inevitable prerequisite for the Day of Judgment. Reflecting deeply on this truth strengthens faith in the Day of Judgment and motivates individuals to utilize the blessings they have been granted according to the guidance provided in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. By doing so, a person can attain peace of mind, achieve success in both worlds, and establish a balanced mental and physical state. Moreover, this approach ensures that everything and everyone in one's life is appropriately placed, fostering tranquility, harmony, and readiness for accountability on the Day of Judgment. Chapter 45 Al-Jatiyah, verse 22.
For Allah created the heavens and the earth for a purpose, so that every soul may be paid back for what it has committed, and none will be wronged.
And chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 16.
And the sky will split open, for that day it is infirm.
Modern scientific observations show that the universe is in a constant state of expansion, with galaxies moving away from one another, and space itself stretching over time. This continuous growth highlights the immense power and order of creation, yet it also points to an inevitable culmination. Just as any structure that expands beyond its limits will eventually fracture or collapse, the skies too will undergo a dramatic transformation on the Day of Judgment, preparing for the accountability of every individual. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 17 to 18.
And the angels are at its edges, and there will bear the throne of your Lord above them that day, 8 of them. That day you will be exhibited for judgment. Not hidden among you is anything concealed.
These verses emphasize the meticulous nature of divine justice. Nothing in a person's life, no thought, action, or intention will remain unseen or concealed. The angels stationed at the edges of the sky symbolize the readiness and precision with which the universe itself will serve as a witness and framework for human accountability. The imagery of the throne of Allah, the Exalted, borne above the cosmos by angels, illustrates the supreme authority and awe-inspiring majesty of the one who judges all creation. As discussed earlier, as one's accountability is certain to occur, it therefore makes sense to practically prepare for it, over preparing for things that might not occur, such as one's retirement. This practical preparation involves correctly using the blessings Allah, the Exalted, has granted them as outlined in Islamic teachings. This will ensure they obtain a balanced mental and physical state, and correctly place everything and everyone within their life, while adequately preparing for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. This behavior will therefore lead to peace of mind in both worlds. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 19 to 24.
So as for he who is given his record in his right hand, he will say, Here, read my record. Indeed, I was certain that I would be meeting my account. So he will be in a pleasant life, in an elevated garden, its fruit to be picked hanging near. They will be told, Eat and drink in satisfaction for what you put forth in the days past.
Failing to practically prepare for one's accountability on the Day of Judgment, even while verbally claiming belief in it, is akin to a student who neglects to study for an important exam. Such a person will most likely fail. In reality, someone who does not align their actions with their verbal declaration of faith may, in essence, be considered as not truly believing, despite outward claims. In this world, a person may be judged as a Muslim according to the law based on their verbal declaration of faith. But on the Day of Judgment, Allah, the Exalted, will judge each individual according to their inward reality, which remains hidden from others. Therefore, those who claim belief in Allah, the Exalted, and in their accountability in the hereafter, yet fail to support their words with deeds, may find that their heart contains no true faith, resulting in treatment equivalent to a non-believer on the Day of Judgment. Moreover, neglecting to support one's verbal declaration with actions places a person at risk of losing their faith entirely before their death. Faith is like a delicate flame that requires constant attention and nourishment. Just as a fire diminishes without fuel, faith weakens and may be extinguished if it is not sustained through consistent acts of obedience and reflection. Neglecting this spiritual upkeep puts a person at risk of losing the very guidance that illuminates their life, a loss far more devastating than any worldly setback. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 25 to 29.
But as for he who is given his record in his left hand, he will say, "Oh, I wish I had not been given my record, and had not known what is my account. I wish my death had been the decisive one. My possessions have not availed me. Gone from me is my authority."
Regrets can be categorized into two types. The first type involves worldly regrets, such as missed opportunities in marriage, career, or family life. These regrets are temporary. They may diminish over time, be fulfilled, or end upon death. While such regrets can cause sadness, they do not bring eternal torment, and are ultimately resolved if a person attains paradise through the mercy of Allah, the Exalted. The second type consists of the profound regrets of the hereafter, arising from failing to use one's resources, blessings, and opportunities to obey Allah, the Exalted. These regrets are long-lasting because the duration in the grave, and on the Day of Judgment, exceeds the span of a person's earthly life. Chapter 22 Al-Hajj, verse 47.
And indeed, a day with your Lord is like 1,000 years of those which you count.
These everlasting regrets are deeply significant, as they may result in severe punishment and torment for the one who neglected their obligations. Therefore, it is crucial for a person to reflect upon this reality and act with foresight. Prioritizing the removal of potential regrets in the grave and on the Day of Judgment is a form of kindness toward oneself, far more essential than focusing solely on temporary worldly regrets. By aligning actions with sincere faith and consistently striving to obey Allah, the Exalted, one safeguards the heart and ensures the blessings granted in this life are used to prepare for success in the hereafter. Chapter 89 Al-Fajr, verses 23 to 24.
And brought within view that day is hell. That day man will remember, but how, i.e., what good to him will be the remembrance? He will say, "Oh, I wish I had sent ahead some good for my life."
And chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 28 to 29.
My possessions have not availed me. Gone from me is my authority.
These verses specifically highlight that neither possessions nor authority will provide benefit in the hereafter, or even fully in this world, if they are not used correctly in accordance with Islamic teachings, even if this truth is not immediately apparent. Misusing these blessings prevents a person from attaining a balanced mental and physical state, causing disorder in the placement of everything and everyone within their life. Consequently, elements that should bring support and stability, such as family, friends, career, and wealth, become sources of stress and turmoil. Persisting in disobedience to Allah, the Exalted, leads a person to misattribute the causes of their suffering, blaming those who are actually good for them, such as a spouse or close family members. Cutting these supportive individuals out of their lives only exacerbates mental distress, potentially leading to depression, addiction, or even suicidal tendencies. This pattern is observable among those who misuse the blessings they possess, like the wealthy and famous, despite enjoying worldly luxuries. Because their attitude prevented them from preparing for their accountability on Judgment Day, their punishment in the hereafter will be far more severe. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 30 to 32.
Allah will say, "Seize him and shackle him. Then into hellfire drive him. Then into a chain whose length is 70 cubits insert him."
One of the primary reasons why elements of the hereafter, such as the Day of Judgment and hell, are described in such vivid detail in Islamic teachings is to counter the false beliefs of previous nations. These communities often belittled or mocked these realities, dismissing them through wishful thinking while continuing in disobedience. People falsely assumed they could attain salvation without reforming their behavior, relying on excuses such as the intercession of a righteous person, mere verbal claims of faith, or the presumption that repentance alone would absolve them without corresponding actions. Others imagined that the punishments of the hereafter would be no more severe than the difficulties of this worldly life. To eliminate these misconceptions, Islamic teachings present the realities of the hereafter in clear and detailed terms, aiming to awaken hearts to the seriousness of accountability. These descriptions are not intended to instill despair, but rather to encourage practical obedience to Allah, the Exalted. This obedience requires using the blessings granted to a person in ways that are pleasing to Him, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. By internalizing these teachings and acting upon them, a person safeguards themselves from complacency and false hopes, cultivating sincerity and accountability. This approach ensures protection from punishment and guarantees success in both worlds, through achieving a balanced mental and physical state, and correctly organizing everything and everyone within their life. As previously noted, failing to support a verbal declaration of faith in Allah, the Exalted, and the Day of Judgment with corresponding actions places a person at serious risk of being judged as a non-believer in the hereafter, because mere words without deeds carry little significance. Faith is comparable to a living plant that requires consistent nourishment through acts of obedience in order to grow, flourish, and endure. Just as a plant deprived of essential sustenance, such as sunlight, water, and nutrients, will wither and die, so too can a person's faith perish if it is neglected and not actively cultivated through sincere obedience. This loss is profound, representing the greatest of all deprivations, as it jeopardizes the very foundation of a person's spiritual existence. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 33.
Indeed, he did not use to believe in Allah, the Most Great.
This verse serves as a stern reminder that faith must be consistently nurtured and translated into actions, as its vitality depends entirely on the practical embodiment of belief through righteous deeds and sincere devotion. Peace of mind for the individual and justice within society are deeply interconnected with belief in accountability on Judgment Day. Without this belief, individuals are prone to misusing the blessings granted to them, such as wealth, health, and authority, and this misuse undermines both inner tranquility and the fulfillment of the rights of others. When people convince themselves that their actions will go unexamined, they become emboldened to oppress and exploit, particularly when they perceive that worldly authorities cannot hold them accountable. In this state, blessings lose their intended purpose and instead become instruments of selfishness and harm. Wealth fosters greed, authority becomes a tool of tyranny, and relationships are manipulated for personal gain. The consequence is twofold. Individuals experience inner unrest, and society suffers from widespread corruption and injustice. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 34.
Nor did he encourage the feeding of the poor.
Belief in accountability functions as a moral safeguard. It restrains unchecked desires, disciplines behavior, and ensures that blessings are used properly. It serves as a reminder that every deed will be weighed, every right will be recognized, and every injustice will be addressed. This awareness cultivates sincerity, humility, and responsibility, allowing individuals to attain balance within themselves and enabling society to uphold justice. Historical patterns and daily observation confirm this truth. Communities that abandon accountability, whether divine or moral, inevitably descend into corruption, with laws distorted, rights neglected, and oppression flourishing. Conversely, societies that maintain a consciousness of accountability foster fairness, compassion, and peace. On an individual level, belief in Judgment Day ensures that blessings are directed appropriately. Wealth is allocated to support family and community. Authority is exercised with fairness and integrity, and relationships are nurtured with honesty and care. This correct alignment produces inner peace, as individuals recognize that their actions are consistent with divine guidance. On a societal level, accountability guarantees that rights are fulfilled, justice is maintained, and social harmony is sustained. In contrast, neglecting this belief leads to imbalance. Blessings are misused, responsibilities ignored, and oppression becomes rampant. Families suffer, communities fracture, and societies collapse under the weight of injustice. Thus, belief in Judgment Day is not merely a theological concept, it is a practical necessity. It establishes the foundation for personal tranquility and social harmony. When embraced, it preserves blessings, ensures the fulfillment of rights, and fosters peace in both this world and the hereafter. It is the guiding principle that transforms mere existence into a life of purpose, balance, and righteousness, aligning individual well-being with collective justice. After cautioning that a person's wealth, status, or authority will not benefit them on Judgment Day if they are not used correctly, as prescribed in Islamic teachings, Allah, the Exalted, addresses a common form of wishful thinking. This is the false assumption that one can persist in disobedience while expecting another, such as a friend, relative, or even a pious person, to secure salvation on their behalf. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 35.
So there is not for him here this day any devoted friend.
Each individual will be accountable solely for their own actions. The deeds of one's relatives or friends, regardless of their piety, cannot substitute for personal responsibility. Chapter 31 Luqman, verse 33.
O mankind, fear your Lord, and fear a day when no father will avail his son, nor will a son avail his father at all.
And chapter 53 and Najm, verse 39.
And that there is not for man except that good for which he strives.
Intercession on the Day of Judgment is indeed a reality. However, it only benefits those who genuinely strive to obey Allah the Exalted in this world. This is consistently highlighted in the Holy Quran. Chapter 40 Ghafir, verse 8.
Our Lord, and admit them to gardens of perpetual residence which you have promised them, and whoever was righteous among their forefathers, their spouses and their offspring.
Thus, adopting a complacent attitude, neglecting obedience while relying on others to secure salvation, is a form of mockery toward intercession and demonstrates a profound disrespect for its purpose. The proper approach, therefore, is personal diligence in obedience to Allah the Exalted. Each person must strive to use the blessings they have been granted in ways pleasing to him, as outlined in Islamic teachings. This responsibility cannot be delegated. The example of the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, illustrates this principle clearly. Although they had the privilege of living with the best of mankind, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, whose intercession they hoped for, they did not rely solely on this. They devoted themselves fully to obeying Allah, the Exalted, in all aspects of their lives, understanding that sincere effort in this world is the condition for benefiting from intercession on the Day of Judgment. This guidance underscores the profound importance of personal accountability, sincere effort, and practical obedience. Salvation cannot be outsourced, and the blessings of this life must be utilized in a manner that aligns with divine guidance to achieve peace of mind, balance, and ultimate success in both worlds. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 35.
So there is not for him here this day any devoted friend.
This verse also serves as a stern warning against harmful companionship, as associating with misguided individuals can lead to misguidance and hardships in both this life and the hereafter. Human beings, by nature, are inherently social creatures, and their beliefs, habits, and moral character are deeply shaped by those with whom they surround themselves. This influence can manifest immediately or gradually, but its impact is always transformative. Companionship is never a neutral factor. It is a potent force that molds one's values, emotions, and ultimately, their destiny. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, affirmed this principle in a hadith recorded in Sunan Abu Dawood, number 4833, highlighting how the company one keeps directly affects their spiritual and moral condition. A person absorbs the attitudes, outlook, and behaviors of their companions, just as a visitor to a perfume shop carries away its fragrance, while a guest in a blacksmith's workshop is tainted by smoke. Consequently, keeping company with the righteous and sincere naturally draws the heart toward obedience, humility, and faithfulness to Allah, the Exalted. Such companions serve as reminders of responsibility, guides for the proper use of the blessings one has been granted, and encourages in preparing for accountability on the Day of Judgment. In this environment, the heart is uplifted, intentions are purified, and conduct is refined. The individual learns balance in mind, body, and spirit, and is guided toward a purposeful and content life. Conversely, those who surround themselves with heedless or misguided companions gradually mirror their attitudes and behaviors. This influence often begins subtly, but, over time, erodes spiritual awareness and weakens the bond with Allah, the Exalted. Such individuals become increasingly guided by desires rather than divine instruction, misusing the blessings granted to them, and neglecting their ultimate purpose. Their perception of right and wrong becomes distorted, priorities are misplaced, relationships suffer, and a sense of internal harmony is lost. When the obedience of Allah, the Exalted, is replaced by the pursuit of fleeting pleasures or misguided ideals, the heart becomes restless. No material wealth or comfort can fill the void created by spiritual neglect. Outwardly, such individuals may seem successful or content, but inwardly they struggle with anxiety, dissatisfaction, and moral confusion. Their minds are unsettled, relationships strained, and hearts burdened with guilt and regret. The consequences of poor companionship extend beyond this worldly life. They lead to confusion, discontent, and misguidance in this world, and spiritual ruin in the hereafter. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 35 to 37.
So there is not for him here this day any devoted friend, nor any food except from the discharge of wounds. None will eat it except the sinners.
In contrast, righteous companionship cultivates inner peace, strengthens faith, and prepares one for eternal success. Therefore, a wise person exercises discernment in choosing friends, deliberately seeking the company of those who remind them of Allah, the Exalted, and whose character inspires adherence to the path of truth, virtue, and sincere obedience. Such relationships foster a life of balance, purpose, and serenity, ensuring that both the heart and conduct align with divine guidance. Allah, the Exalted, subsequently invites people to contemplate the observable world as a means of discerning realities that are not immediately apparent, such as His divine presence, His oneness, and the imperative that He alone must be obeyed at all times. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 38 to 39.
So I swear by what you see and understand, and what you do not see nor understand.
When one observes the creation of the skies and the earth, along with the innumerable perfectly balanced systems within them, it becomes evident that there is only one who created and sustains the universe. For instance, the precise distance of the sun from the earth serves as a clear sign, as even a slight variation would render the planet uninhabitable. Likewise, the earth has been fashioned to maintain a balanced and pure atmosphere, enabling life to thrive. Gravity on earth is also perfectly calibrated to support life. If it were significantly stronger, movement would be extremely difficult for humans and animals, and many forms of life would struggle to function. Conversely, if gravity were substantially weaker, humans and creatures would lack stability, and ordinary movement would become hazardous and chaotic. Instead, gravity has been set at a level that allows humans, animals, and other living beings to walk, run, construct buildings, and live comfortably on the surface of the earth. When constructing even a simple building, structural elements must be strategically placed to ensure its integrity, such as pillars and supports. This requires careful planning and thought to achieve a strong and safe structure. If this is necessary for a mere building, how could one believe that the vast and complex construction of the skies and the earth occurred by accident? Were the universe created by chance, its formation would be imperfect and unsafe. The precise balance and order observed, however, clearly demonstrate the deliberate planning of the Creator, Allah the Exalted. Chapter 13 Ar-Ra'd, verse 2.
It is Allah who erected the heavens without pillars that you can see.
The sun's path ensures that the earth receives a balanced distribution of light and darkness. The optimal timing of days and nights, along with their seasonal variations in length, allows individuals to derive maximum benefit from them. If days were longer, people would experience fatigue from the extended hours of activity. Conversely, if nights were longer, there would be insufficient time for work, education, and other productive pursuits. Shortened nights, on the other hand, would prevent adequate rest, compromising human health. Changes in the durations of days and nights would also disrupt crop cycles, negatively affecting the sustenance of both humans and animals. The precise harmony of days, nights, and the myriad other balanced systems within the universe serves as a clear indication of the oneness of Allah, the Exalted, for the existence of multiple deities would result in conflicting desires, producing disorder and chaos in creation. Chapter 21 Al-Anbiya, verse 22.
Had there been within them, i.e., the heavens and earth gods besides Allah, they both would have been ruined.
The moon reflects sunlight, providing guidance during the night, particularly for those traveling across deserts and oceans, a practice that continues to serve as a primary means of transporting goods even today. The moon's phases are essential in regulating the tides of oceans and seas, and any disruption in these cycles could have severe environmental consequences. Together, the sun and moon enable precise measurement of time, which is crucial for life on Earth. The exact balance and placement of the sun and moon within the solar system clearly point to the design of a creator. The land on Earth has been formed with perfect balance, allowing humans to cultivate crops and construct buildings simultaneously. Observing the various landscapes reveals differences in altitude. Regions of higher elevation are naturally more challenging for habitation due to reduced oxygen levels and difficult access, whereas the majority of the Earth's surface lies at an optimal altitude for human use. Additionally, certain areas remain highly inaccessible because of natural formations, limiting human activity there. Yet most of the Earth has been structured for ease of access and utilization. Moreover, natural resources essential for life have been strategically positioned so that the most critical resources are the easiest to obtain. These deliberate arrangements and the harmonious design of the Earth unequivocally demonstrate the existence of a creator. Observing the perfectly balanced water cycle provides further evidence of a creator. Water evaporates from the seas, rises and condenses to produce acidic rain, which then falls upon the mountains. These mountains neutralize the acidic rain, making it suitable for use by both humans and animals. Any disruption to this finely tuned system would result in disaster for life on Earth. The salt in the oceans serves to prevent contamination from deceased marine organisms. Without this balance, sea life would perish, and impurities from the oceans would spread to terrestrial life as well. The composition of ocean water has been designed to allow marine life to thrive, while simultaneously supporting the navigation of large ships. A slight alteration in this balance would create a conflict. Either sea life would flourish but ships could not navigate, or ships could sail but marine ecosystems would suffer. Even today, maritime transport remains the primary means of moving goods worldwide. Rainfall is also perfectly regulated. Insufficient rain leads to drought and famine, whereas excessive rainfall causes devastating floods. This precise equilibrium of the water cycle is essential for sustaining life on Earth, and clearly points to the deliberate design of a creator. Chapter 23 Al-Mustminin, verse 18.
And we have sent down rain from the sky in a measured amount and settled it in the earth. And indeed, we are able to take it away.
The winds play a vital role in wind pollination, enabling the reproduction of crops, plants, and trees. In earlier times, winds were essential for sea travel, which continues to be the primary method for transporting goods across the world. Winds are also necessary for moving rain clouds to specific locations, ensuring that all living beings receive the water they require for survival. The system of winds on Earth is perfectly balanced. An absence of wind would create disorder for life, while excessive winds would similarly result in chaos. Those who reflect on these and other precisely balanced systems cannot reasonably deny the existence of a single creator, who holds power over all things. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 38 to 40.
So I swear by what you see and understand, and what you do not see nor understand, that indeed, the Quran is the word of a noble messenger.
The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was widely recognized by the non-Muslims of Mecca as a person of honesty, integrity, and upright character. This recognition was not based on a brief acquaintance, but on a lifetime of observation, as he had lived among them from childhood to adulthood before the announcement of prophethood. His character, conduct, and truthfulness were well known to them, leaving no reasonable basis to accuse him of fabrication or deceit. Chapter 10 Yunus, verse 16.
For I had remained among you a lifetime before it. Then will you not reason?
And chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 41.
And it is not the word of a poet.
In reality, the attempt to label the Holy Quran as poetry can easily be dismissed by anyone who reflects sincerely. Unlike poetry, the Holy Quran is completely free from exaggeration, falsehood, idle speech, lewdness, ambiguity, and impractical concepts. Every verse carries purpose, clarity, and guidance. Its teachings are designed to refine character, elevate spirituality, and establish justice and balance within society. The Holy Quran does not merely present ideas. It provides practical direction that enables individuals to correctly organize their lives and use the blessings granted to them in ways pleasing to Allah, the Exalted. By contrast, Poetry, though often eloquent and expressive, typically relies on imaginative language, metaphor, and emotional exaggeration. It may entertain, inspire, or stir feelings, but it does not necessarily provide lasting principles or practical guidance for life. Poetry can glorify fleeting desires, vanity, or unrealistic ideals, whereas the Holy Quran consistently calls humanity toward truth, righteousness, accountability, and obedience to Allah, the Exalted. For this reason, equating the Holy Quran with poetry is a serious misunderstanding. The Holy Quran surpasses the limits of human expression by combining unparalleled eloquence with profound wisdom and clear guidance. It is not merely admired for its beauty. It is a divine revelation intended to reform individuals and transform societies. Only someone who fails to recognize this fundamental distinction would attempt to compare it with poetry. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 41.
Little do you believe.
When the accusation that the Holy Quran was poetry, and that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was a poet failed to convince people, the leaders of the non-Muslims of Mecca attempted another claim. They tried to label the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, as a soothsayer. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 42.
Nor the word of a soothsayer.
However, the qualities commonly associated with soothsayers, such as deception, lying, manipulation, and the pursuit of worldly gain, were completely absent from the character of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. His entire life had already demonstrated the opposite. The people of Mecca themselves had long recognized him as truthful and trustworthy, and he had never been known to utter a lie, let alone fabricate stories about unseen matters or future events. Therefore, the claim that he was a soothsayer contradicted everything they had observed about his character and conduct. In addition, soothsayers typically seek personal benefit, wealth, or influence through their claims, whereas the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, consistently rejected worldly offers made to him in exchange for abandoning his message. Instead of gaining worldly comfort, he endured hardship, persecution, and sacrifice while continuing to convey the message entrusted to him. This alone demonstrated that his mission was not driven by personal ambition or deception. Thus, the accusation of soothsaying was merely another attempt by the leaders of Mecca to discredit the message of the Holy Quran when they could not challenge its truth or eloquence. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 42.
Little do you remember.
This statement highlights that the evidence of the Holy Prophet Muhammad's, peace and blessings be upon him, honesty and integrity was already well known to them. Their refusal to accept the truth was therefore not due to a lack of evidence, but because they chose to ignore what they already knew. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 43.
It is a revelation from the Lord of the worlds.
Considering that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, had no engagement with earlier divine scriptures, a fact acknowledged by both the people of the book and the non-Muslims of Mecca, it is clear that he could not have possessed knowledge of the altered or even the original teachings contained within those earlier revelations. He neither studied these scriptures nor had the means to learn them through formal education or scholarly transmission. This well-known reality strengthens the conclusion that the Holy Quran did not originate from human knowledge or imitation, but rather from divine revelation. Chapter 29 Al-Ankabut, verse 48.
And you did not recite before it any scripture, nor did you inscribe one with your right hand. Then, i.e., otherwise the falsifiers would have had cause for doubt.
And chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 43.
It is a revelation from the Lord of the worlds.
The language of the Holy Quran is unparalleled, and its expressions possess a level of eloquence that no human work has been able to rival. Its meanings are conveyed with remarkable clarity and directness, allowing its guidance to be understood by those who reflect sincerely. Its words, verses, and style demonstrate a level of linguistic perfection that even the greatest masters of the Arabic language were unable to imitate. At the same time, the Holy Quran is completely free from contradictions, inconsistencies, and confusion, qualities that are commonly found in human writings and in the altered scriptures or philosophical teachings of other traditions. The Holy Quran recounts the histories of previous nations with remarkable detail and accuracy, despite the fact that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was not educated in historical scholarship. These narratives are not presented merely as stories. Rather, they are delivered as lessons that provide moral guidance and practical insight for individuals and communities. The Holy Quran consistently commands every form of goodness and forbids every form of evil. Its guidance addresses both the conduct of individuals and the functioning of entire societies, ensuring that justice, security, and harmony can spread throughout families, communities, and nations. Unlike poetry, fictional tales, or fables, the Holy Quran avoids exaggeration, falsehood, and aimless storytelling. Every verse carries meaning and benefit, offering principles that can be applied directly in daily life. Even when certain historical events or narratives appear more than once in the Holy Quran, each repetition highlights different lessons and insights, ensuring that reflection upon them continues to yield new understanding. For this reason, repeated study of the Holy Quran never becomes tiresome or dull. Instead, it continues to reveal deeper wisdom and guidance each time it is revisited. The Holy Quran presents promises of reward and warnings of punishment, and these are supported by clear and undeniable proofs. When it discusses matters that may initially appear abstract, such as patience, gratitude, or sincerity, it also provides practical instructions on how these qualities can be implemented in daily life. In doing so, the Holy Quran guides people toward fulfilling the purpose of their creation, which is to sincerely obey Allah, the Exalted. This obedience is achieved by using the blessings granted to a person in ways that are pleasing to him. Through this approach, individuals attain peace of mind and true success in both worlds by developing a balanced mental and physical state, and by correctly placing everything and everyone within their lives while preparing properly for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. The Holy Quran makes the straight path clear and attractive to those who sincerely seek peace, stability, and genuine success. Because it addresses the very nature of human beings, their desires, fears, weaknesses, and aspirations, its guidance remains timeless and universally relevant. It benefits people regardless of their era, culture, or location. When understood and applied correctly, the Holy Quran becomes a remedy for emotional, economic, and even physical difficulties. It provides solutions to every challenge that can confront either an individual or an entire society. History itself demonstrates this reality. Societies that sincerely implemented the teachings of the Holy Quran experienced stability, justice, and prosperity because they benefited from its comprehensive and timeless guidance. Another remarkable feature of the Holy Quran is its preservation. Centuries have passed since its revelation, yet not a single letter of it has been altered. Chapter 15 Al-Hijr, verse 9.
Indeed, it is we who sent down the message, i.e. the Quran, and indeed we will be its guardian.
Furthermore, the Holy Quran does not merely address surface problems within a community. Instead, it identifies the root causes of social and moral corruption and provides practical remedies for them. By correcting these fundamental issues, the numerous secondary problems that arise from them are naturally resolved. In this way, the Holy Quran offers comprehensive guidance for every aspect of life, ensuring success for both individuals and societies. Chapter 16 An-Nahl, verse 89.
And we have sent down to you the book as clarification for all things.
For this reason, the Holy Quran remains the greatest and most enduring miracle granted by Allah, the Exalted, to His final messenger, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Unlike miracles that were witnessed only by the people of a particular time and place, the miracle of the Holy Quran continues to exist for every generation. Its guidance, wisdom, and proofs remain accessible to anyone who approaches it sincerely, reflects upon its meanings, and strives to implement its teachings. Through it, individuals are able to recognize the truth, understand the purpose of their creation, and organize their lives according to the guidance of Allah, the Exalted. However, this benefit is not obtained automatically by merely reading or hearing its verses. As the following passage warns, only those who genuinely seek the truth and make a sincere effort to live according to its teachings will benefit from it. Those who approach the Holy Quran with insincerity, who interpret it according to their desires, or who selectively accept only the teachings that suit their personal preferences, will not gain its guidance. Instead of attaining success, they will ultimately face loss in both this world and the hereafter, as they have chosen to ignore the very guidance meant to save them. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verses 44 to 47.
And if he, i.e. the Prophet, had made up about us some false sayings, we would have seized him by the right hand. Then we would have cut from him the aorta. And there is no one of you who could prevent us from him.
These verses firmly establish that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, could never have fabricated or altered the message of the Holy Quran. If such a thing had occurred, which it did not, Allah, the Exalted, would have immediately punished him, and no person would have been able to protect him from that punishment. This powerful declaration demonstrates the absolute certainty that the Holy Quran is not the speech of a human being, but a revelation sent by the Lord of the worlds. It also highlights the complete integrity and sincerity of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, in conveying the message entrusted to him. He delivered the revelation exactly as it was revealed, without alteration, addition, or concealment. His role was that of a faithful messenger of Allah, the Exalted, who conveyed the guidance of Allah, the Exalted, for the benefit of humanity. Therefore, the Holy Quran remains a living miracle and a complete guide for life. Those who approach it with humility, sincerity, and a willingness to follow its guidance will find within it the path to peace of mind and genuine success in both worlds. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 48.
And indeed, it is a reminder for the righteous.
Divine revelation has been described in this verse as a reminder. In reality, Islamic teachings function as a reminder for all people, because they are perfectly aligned with the natural disposition upon which humanity has been created. The guidance contained within the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, does not impose an unnatural or artificial system upon human beings. Rather, it reminds them of the principles that already correspond to their innate nature. When a code of conduct contradicts the inherent disposition of humanity, it inevitably feels foreign and burdensome. Attempting to live according to such a system often produces mental strain, emotional conflict, and even physical disruption, as the individual is forced to suppress or distort their natural inclinations. By contrast, Islamic teachings are divinely designed to correspond with the true nature of human beings. Because of this harmony, they cultivate balance within both the mental and physical states. When a person sincerely engages with these teachings, they often experience a sense of recognition and familiarity, as if the guidance is awakening truths that already exist within them. This harmony between revelation and human nature explains why Islamic teachings consistently produce stability, balance, and clarity when they are understood and implemented correctly. This sense of recognition is especially noticeable among those who accept Islam after previously following another religion, philosophy, or lifestyle. Many converts describe a profound feeling that the teachings of Islam resonate deeply within them, even before they have studied them extensively. They often express that embracing Islam feels less like adopting something new, and more like rediscovering something that was always present within their hearts. This occurs because Islam does not attempt to reshape human nature through artificial ideals. Instead, it restores people to the natural state upon which Allah, the Exalted, created humanity. Other belief systems and ideologies often introduce codes of conduct that conflict with this innate disposition. When individuals attempt to follow such systems, they may experience internal tension, confusion, and dissatisfaction. These systems can demand behaviors, attitudes, or values that feel unnatural, creating imbalance in both personal life and society. As a result, individuals may struggle to maintain emotional stability, mental clarity, and genuine contentment. However, this harmony between revelation and human nature may not always be immediately recognized. Prejudice, arrogance, cultural conditioning, or blind attachment to inherited traditions can prevent individuals from approaching Islamic teachings with fairness and sincerity. These barriers can veil the heart, preventing a person from recognizing the profound compatibility between divine guidance and human nature. When someone approaches Islamic teachings with an open and sincere mind, however, this harmony becomes increasingly evident. Divine revelation is then understood not as a burden or limitation, but as a reminder that restores balance and clarity. It guides individuals back to the purpose for which they were created, and provides a framework through which life can be lived with wisdom, stability, and direction. In this way, revelation functions both as a mirror and as a compass. It acts as a mirror by reflecting the innate truth already present within the human soul, and it acts as a compass by directing individuals toward the path that leads to peace of mind and true success. By following this guidance, a person is able to achieve balance in both mental and physical states, while correctly placing everything and everyone within their life, thereby preparing themselves for lasting success in both this world and the hereafter. However, because obedience to Allah, the Exalted, often conflicts with the worldly desires, ambitions, and habits of people, many individuals persist in denial or neglect the guidance of Islamic teachings even while verbally claiming belief in them. Following divine guidance requires discipline, restraint, and the willingness to prioritize eternal success over temporary worldly pleasures. For those who are deeply attached to their desires, this can appear burdensome, and therefore they choose to ignore or reject the guidance placed before them. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 49.
And indeed, we know that among you are deniers.
When individuals adopt this attitude, they inevitably misuse the blessings that Allah, the Exalted, has granted them. Wealth, health, relationships, knowledge, and authority are meant to be used in ways that please Allah, the Exalted. But when they are directed toward fulfilling selfish desires instead, they lose their true purpose. As a consequence, the individual is prevented from achieving a balanced mental and physical state. Their priorities become distorted, and they begin to misplace everything and everyone within their life. As this imbalance deepens, the very things that were meant to bring comfort and stability begin to generate stress and anxiety. Family members, friends, careers, and wealth, blessings that should provide support and harmony, gradually become sources of tension and dissatisfaction. Because the true cause of their distress is their own disobedience to Allah, the Exalted, they fail to recognize the real problem. Instead, they blame the wrong people and circumstances within their lives. A person may begin to blame their spouse, relatives, or colleagues for their unhappiness, believing that removing these individuals from their life will resolve their difficulties. Yet when these good people are pushed away, the situation often worsens rather than improves. The individual becomes increasingly isolated, and the imbalance within their life intensifies. Over time, this condition may develop into serious mental and emotional difficulties, including anxiety, depression, substance addiction, and even suicidal thoughts. This pattern can often be observed among individuals who possess immense worldly wealth, fame, or influence, yet persist in misusing the blessings they have been granted. Despite their outward luxuries and privileges, they frequently experience deep inner turmoil because the blessings they possess are not being used according to the guidance of Allah, the Exalted. More importantly, this attitude prevents them from preparing for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. Because they remain preoccupied with worldly desires and neglect the guidance meant to direct their lives, they arrive in the hereafter unprepared. As a result, the regret they experience there will be severe and overwhelming. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 50.
And indeed, it will be a cause of regret upon the disbelievers.
It is also vital to understand that the standards by which people are judged in this world differ from the standards by which they will be judged in the hereafter. In worldly legal matters, a person is considered a Muslim based on their verbal declaration of faith. Society cannot see what lies within the heart, so judgment must be based on outward statements and actions. However, in the hereafter, each person will be judged by Allah, the Exalted, according to their true inward reality, which is completely known to him and hidden from others. Therefore, a person who verbally claims belief in Allah, the Exalted, and belief in accountability in the hereafter, yet fails to support that claim with sincere actions, may not actually possess genuine faith within their heart. If their actions consistently contradict their claim of belief, it is possible that their declaration was only superficial. As a result, they may be treated as a non-Muslim on the Day of Judgment, even though the law of this world considered them a Muslim during their lifetime. Furthermore, the person who fails to support their verbal declaration of faith with actions faces another grave danger: the possibility of losing their faith entirely before death. Faith cannot remain strong without nourishment. It requires continuous strengthening through acts of obedience, remembrance of Allah, the Exalted, and the sincere effort to follow divine guidance. Faith can be likened to a living plant that must be nurtured in order to survive and flourish. Just as a plant requires essential elements such as sunlight, water, and proper care, faith also requires nourishment through good deeds, sincere reflection, and consistent obedience. When a plant is deprived of these necessities, it gradually weakens, withers, and eventually dies. Similarly, when a person neglects acts of obedience and persists in disobedience, their faith weakens over time and may ultimately disappear altogether. Losing faith in this way represents the greatest possible loss, as it deprives a person of success in both this world and the hereafter. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 50.
And indeed it will be a cause of regret upon the disbelievers.
In order to avoid this regret, a person must strive to develop strong and firm faith. Such faith is essential for remaining steadfast in the obedience of Allah, the Exalted, under every circumstance. Life inevitably brings periods of comfort as well as hardship, moments of ease as well as trials. Only a person whose faith is strong will remain committed to obeying Allah, the Exalted, during both favorable and difficult situations. Their obedience will not be dependent on convenience, personal benefit, or emotional state. Rather, it will be rooted in conviction that the guidance of Allah, the Exalted, is always correct and beneficial. This firm conviction is not developed through mere claims or assumptions. It is cultivated through understanding, reflecting upon, and implementing the clear signs and teachings contained within the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. When a person studies these teachings sincerely and strives to apply them in their life, they begin to recognize the wisdom behind every command and prohibition. Through this process, faith gradually becomes stronger and more deeply rooted in the heart. As a result, obedience to Allah, the Exalted, is no longer viewed as a burden, but as the path that leads to stability, clarity, and genuine peace. These divine teachings consistently demonstrate that sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, leads to peace and success in both this world and the hereafter. They clarify the purpose of life, establish moral boundaries, and guide individuals toward behavior that protects their well-being and the well-being of society. For this reason, the Holy Quran describes its guidance with certainty and clarity. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 51.
And indeed, it is the truth of certainty.
This statement emphasizes that the guidance revealed by Allah, the Exalted, is not based on speculation or human guesswork. It is absolute truth, providing certainty for those who seek direction in life. When a person recognizes this certainty, their trust in divine guidance grows stronger, and they become more determined to follow it in every aspect of their life. By contrast, those who lack knowledge of Islamic teachings often possess weak faith. Without proper understanding, their belief may remain superficial and vulnerable to doubt. When their personal desires conflict with divine guidance, they are more likely to abandon obedience in favor of immediate gratification. Because they do not fully comprehend the wisdom and benefits behind the commands of Allah, the Exalted, they may assume that fulfilling their desires will bring them happiness and freedom. In reality, this misunderstanding prevents them from realizing a profound truth. Restraining personal desires in order to follow the guidance of Allah, the Exalted, is actually the path to genuine peace and success in both worlds. What may initially appear to be sacrifice or restriction is in fact protection and guidance designed to preserve the well-being of the individual and society. For this reason, it is essential for every person to actively strengthen their faith through the pursuit of authentic Islamic knowledge and the sincere effort to apply it in daily life. Knowledge alone is not sufficient. It must be accompanied by practice and reflection. When knowledge and action are combined, faith becomes firmly established and capable of withstanding the challenges and temptations of life. Through this process, a person learns how to correctly utilize the blessings they have been granted, including their time, wealth, health, relationships, and opportunities. Islamic teachings provide clear guidance on how these blessings should be used in ways that are pleasing to Allah, the Exalted. When they are used properly, the individual achieves balance within their life, developing both a healthy mental state and a stable physical condition. This balanced approach allows a person to place everything and everyone within their life in the correct position. Responsibilities are fulfilled, relationships are treated with fairness and care, and worldly pursuits are kept within proper limits. In this way, strong faith not only protects a person from regret in the hereafter, but also brings harmony, clarity, and peace of mind during their life in this world. Allah, the Exalted, then draws attention to an important quality that stems from strong and sincere faith: glorifying Him. Glorifying Allah, the Exalted, involves recognizing His perfection and greatness while refraining from attributing anything inappropriate or negative to Him. This includes avoiding the attitude of blaming Him for the difficulties and trials that occur in life. Although every event takes place only with the permission and wisdom of Allah, the Exalted, a person with strong faith understands that these events are never meaningless or unjust. Rather, they occur according to divine wisdom and serve purposes that may not always be immediately apparent to human understanding. Chapter 69 Al-Haqqah, verse 52.
So exalt the name of your Lord, the Most Great.
One of the most practical ways to embody this command is by developing and maintaining a positive and balanced mindset. Cultivating such a mindset is essential for navigating the challenges of life while remaining obedient to Allah, the Exalted. True obedience involves correctly utilizing the blessings that He has granted in ways that are pleasing to Him, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. A positive outlook helps a person maintain patience, gratitude, and clarity during both ease and hardship. Whenever individuals face difficulties or trials, they should remember that their situation could always have been more severe. Reflecting on this reality helps protect the heart from despair and resentment. If a difficulty relates to worldly matters, a person should be grateful that it does not harm their faith or weaken their relationship with Allah, the Exalted. Worldly losses, while painful, are temporary, whereas the preservation of faith is the greatest blessing a person can possess. Instead of becoming overwhelmed by the immediate sadness associated with hardship, a person should turn their attention to the immense reward promised to those who remain patient for the sake of Allah, the Exalted. Patience during hardship is not merely a passive endurance of suffering. It is an active state of trust, gratitude, and perseverance in obedience. By focusing on the eternal reward awaiting those who endure trials with patience, individuals are able to transform hardship into an opportunity for spiritual growth and lasting success. Similarly, when a person experiences the loss of certain blessings, they should not concentrate solely on what has been taken from them. Instead, they should reflect upon the countless blessings that remain in their possession. Health, faith, family, opportunities, and many other forms of goodness often remain present even when one particular blessing has been removed. Recognizing these remaining blessings encourages gratitude and prevents the heart from falling into ingratitude and despair. In every difficulty, it is also beneficial to recall the guidance of the Holy Quran, which reminds people that many trials contain hidden wisdoms that human beings cannot immediately perceive. What appears to be harmful or undesirable at first may ultimately lead to greater benefit, protection, or spiritual elevation. Likewise, something that initially appears appealing may eventually bring harm. Chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 216.
But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows while you know not.
A person should consistently reflect upon these truths in order to cultivate a positive and balanced mindset. Such a mindset plays an important role in properly glorifying Allah, the Exalted, because it prevents individuals from attributing negative assumptions or unjust thoughts to Him. Instead, it encourages trust in His wisdom, gratitude for His blessings, and patience during His tests. When this perspective is adopted, even challenges become opportunities for growth and closeness to Allah, the Exalted. For this reason, one should remember a simple yet meaningful perspective. The cup is not half empty, in reality, it is half full. By focusing on the blessings that remain and trusting in the wisdom of Allah, the Exalted, a person is able to maintain peace of mind, strengthen their faith, and continue striving towards success in both this world and the hereafter. In summary, a person must accept and implement Islamic teachings for their own well-being, even when these teachings oppose their personal desires or immediate preferences. True wisdom lies in recognizing that personal desires do not always lead to what is beneficial, whereas divine guidance always directs a person toward what ultimately benefits them. A helpful comparison can be made with a sensible patient who follows the advice of a qualified doctor. Such a patient understands that the doctor's recommendations are designed to restore and preserve their health, even if the treatment involves bitter medicine, uncomfortable procedures, or a strict dietary plan. Although these prescriptions may be unpleasant at first, the patient accepts them because they trust that the outcome will be beneficial. Similarly, a person who accepts and practices Islamic teachings will eventually achieve a sound and balanced mental and physical state. This is because the guidance of Islam originates from Allah, the Exalted, the one who created humanity and therefore possesses complete knowledge of every aspect of human nature. Only the Creator fully understands the intricate needs of the human mind, body, and soul. Consequently, only His guidance can ensure that a person develops balance in their life and correctly positions everything and everyone within it. By contrast, the knowledge possessed by human societies regarding the mental and physical well-being of individuals will always remain limited, regardless of how much research or investigation is conducted. While human knowledge may produce useful observations and partial solutions, it cannot fully resolve every difficulty that a person may encounter throughout life. Human understanding is constrained by limited experience, incomplete foresight, and personal biases that influence judgment and conclusions. Because of these limitations, the advice offered by society cannot guarantee that a person will be free from mental and emotional stress, nor can it ensure that individuals will consistently maintain balance in their lives or properly organize their priorities and relationships. Allah, the Exalted, alone possesses perfect knowledge of what benefits His creation in every circumstance. Out of His mercy, He has communicated this knowledge to humanity through the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Within these sources lies a complete framework that guides individuals toward a balanced life and protects society from disorder and injustice. The truth of this guidance becomes clear when one observes the difference between those who use the blessings granted to them according to Islamic teachings and those who misuse them by following their own desires. It is also worth noting that in many cases patients do not fully understand the complex scientific explanations behind the medications and treatments prescribed to them by their doctors. Despite this, they still trust the expertise of the medical professional and follow the prescribed treatment because they recognize that the doctor possesses greater knowledge in that field. However, Allah, the Exalted, does not require people to accept Islamic teachings through blind reliance alone. Instead, He repeatedly encourages reflection and thoughtful consideration so that individuals may recognize the wisdom and benefits of His guidance for themselves. Through sincere reflection, a person can observe how Islamic teachings produce harmony, stability, and justice in both individual lives and within society as a whole. These teachings address human behavior, relationships, responsibilities, and moral conduct in a way that nurtures balance and protects well-being. In this way, divine guidance invites people not only to follow it but also to understand the wisdom behind it. However, recognizing this wisdom requires approaching Islamic teachings with fairness, sincerity, and an open mind. Prejudice, arrogance, or blind loyalty to inherited customs can prevent individuals from appreciating the clarity and truth contained within divine guidance. Chapter 12 Yusuf, verse 108.
Say, this is my way, I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me.
In addition, it must be understood that the true state of the human heart rests entirely within the control of Allah, the Exalted. The heart is the center of peace, contentment, and emotional stability. Although people pursue many different means to achieve happiness and peace of mind, the ultimate authority over the hearts belongs solely to Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 53 and Najm, verse 43.
And that it is He who makes one laugh and weep.
It becomes evident that Allah, the Exalted, grants true tranquility to those who use the blessings He has bestowed upon them in the proper manner, as outlined in Islamic teachings. When individuals utilize their time, wealth, abilities, and relationships according to divine guidance, their lives become ordered and balanced. Their responsibilities are fulfilled with wisdom, their priorities are correctly arranged, and their hearts become settled through trust in Allah, the Exalted. In this way, accepting and implementing Islamic teachings leads not only to success in the hereafter, but also to stability, clarity, and genuine peace of mind during one's life in this world. Chapter 16 and now, verse 97.
Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and we will surely give them their reward in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do.
All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and may peace and blessings be upon His final messenger, Muhammad, his noble family and companions.